Hey guys, it's Theodore here from Aria Bros, and today I'll be talking about batteries and the new development in them, which has a lot of potential. Batteries have been around for a long time. In 1938, the director of the Baghdad Museum found what is known as the first ever battery, and it dates back to 250 BC, which means it was made almost 2300 years before today. What they used it for, I have no idea, but scientists think that it was for electroplating or for the treatment of pain. It was called the Baghdad battery and is made of a clay jar with a stopper made of asphalt. Through the asphalt is an iron rod which is surrounded by a copper cylinder. It is able to produce 1 to 2 volts of electricity. When the clay jar is filled with an acid or any electrolytic solution, it allows for electrons to go from the copper tube to the iron rod. This is how electricity is generated in this battery. This is basically the same principle that scientists Galvani and Volta discovered over 2,000 years later, in the early 1800s. Volta's battery consisted of a pile of alternating layers of zinc, copper, and a paper with saltwater solution on it. Each of these cells was able to produce 0.76 volts of electricity, and also had a stable current. Volta believed that in these batteries the zinc would oxidize, which means that it would lose electrons, and the electrons would be gained by the copper in a process called reduction. For this invention, we honor Volta by naming the unit for electric potential the volt. But Volta was wrong. It was not the copper that underwent the reduction. It was actually the saltwater solution, or the electrolyte. Anyway, with this flow of electrons between the two substances, allowed for you to hook up things like a light bulb and give it power. Over time, people have improved upon Volta's battery. Instead of chemical solution, they used chemical paste to make dry batteries, but the principle is still the same. A metal would oxidize and transfer electrons to a chemical that would take them. But there was a limit to how many electrons the metal could lose, so the batteries would die. This was improved with rechargeable batteries. When you applied electricity to the battery, the electrons could be returned to the metal, and the oxidation process was ready to repeat again. But even this had a limit. Batteries could only be charged hundreds of times before they would develop imperfections in the metal, which didn't allow electrons to flow properly. Improvements in technology over time have made it so that you can charge batteries thousands of times, but there is still a limit. The most common battery nowadays in our phones, laptops, and even electric cars is the lithium-ion battery, which is made of multiple cells like with the Volta battery. A lithium-ion cell has two ends with the aluminum foil at one end and copper foil at the other. It has two electrodes, a positive cathode, which has lithium oxide, and a negative anode, which has graphite. The electrolyte is the way ions travel from one end to the other. In this battery, the lithium ions in the cathode carry the charge of the battery and travel through the electrolyte to get to the anode. A separator is placed between the two electrodes to prevent short circuits. When the battery is charged, positively charged lithium ions from the cathode flow through the electrolyte and the separator to get stored in the graphite structure. When the battery discharges, the lithium ions move back to the cathode, and this provides electrical energy needed to power your technology. But the newest potential improvement came in 2004, when two scientists managed to scrape off a 1-atom thick layer of carbon atoms from graphite. This layer is called graphene. It has carbon atoms bonded to 3 other carbon atoms in a flat hexagonal structure. Graphene is a wonderful material as it is very strong, very light, very stretchy, very flexible, very thin, and most of all, graphene is the most efficient conductor of electricity known to man. It has so much potential and is so interesting that I will be making another video only about graphene and its applications. But right now we are talking about batteries. When put into a battery, graphene increases its capacity by 50%, and it increases the charging and discharging speeds up to 5 times. As you have probably seen in the past year, a few companies have come up with graphene power banks. This one has a power capacity of 10,000 milliamp hours and charges in only 19 minutes. It charges at 100 watts and can provide power up to 60 watts, so you can even charge your laptop from it. This type of battery has a lot of potential for smartphones, laptops, and even electric cars. In the future, you could have a Galaxy S20 Ultra of the same size with a 7500 mAh battery instead of the 5000, and it could charge in only 15 minutes. That means off a 15-minute charge, you could go for 3 days. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up below, and if you liked it a lot, subscribe and be sure to hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.